going on here? We're going to see whether this is working. So I'm going to wait a few minutes for everybody to get on. Welcome back, everyone. This is a lesson in patience. This is a lesson in acceptance. This is also a lesson in possibly hiring someone to come and help me figure out why it is that connectivity tends to be such an issue. So there are some things we can blame on the planets, and there are some things that also just require us working a little harder sometimes to resolve issues. I always forget how much difficulty we have sometimes on these live streams until we get into another one. And the same kind of energy comes through. I don't know, unless this is different for me, but you guys let me know. I feel like this does happen pretty frequently, this just having difficulty with the connectivity. So anybody who is on, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if I'm connected here. I'll just wait for people to hop on and let me know what they're experiencing. It's not you, Plune. It's, what's that old phrase? It's not you, it's me. Really, like, having to work through some frustration here, you guys. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'm super irritated by the fact that this keeps happening. But it's fine. You know what? We just do what we do, right? Nothing else that we can do except move forward from here. So we'll see how it goes, and I will make a pledge to figure out my technical issues and find some way to get better internet in here, because it seems like it's just like, I don't know, technology is not my thing. You know what I mean? I think I don't know, I can't blame it on my generation either, because there's plenty of people in my generation that know how to use technology appropriately. It's like I'm like, what is it that people my age call themselves? Like elder millennials, I think. So it's like right on the verge, really, of generation, what was it, X? And the millennials. It's a weird place to be. So it's like there wasn't technology when I was growing up until I got into like high school. And then there was my greatest wheelhouse. You know what I mean? It's, I do my best. You know what I mean? I should do better. There I go, shitting all over myself. I would like to. I am intending and committing to doing better so that we can have these live streams run a bit more smoothly. All right. But it is what it is. We're all here. Welcome to March Madness, you guys. This is the energy. It's going to be a clusterfuck of epic proportions at different times. And Spirit's saying we just got to roll with it. There's nothing else we're going to be able to do. We got 2 eclipses, 2 personal planets going retrograde at the same effing time. All right, we got Neptune shifting signs for the first time since 2011. First time in the sign of Aries since 1860s. Think about that for a minute. All right, these are big energies. These are some big dick energies that we are working with. And so we got to flow with it. We got to let it be what it is. It's almost like, just like anything else, right? There's an initiation in and of itself when we go through these surges of energy and we have to find our footing again and again, right? We really get that opportunity. All right, how well am I at regrouping? How well am I at playing it off the cuff, right? How mutable, how flexible do I know how to be? These are questions that this March into April is going to be asking us. All right, that's it. Stir the pot says ride that wave. That's what we're doing. That's all we can do, essentially, right? I see we got D on here now. We got a lot more people on here, though. At least I'm seeing more of you. We've got Creative Common. Yep. Who else have we got on here? Amber. Moon Women. Loving it. Loving you all. So great to see you all on here. Appreciating, of course, we got Annika holding it down, as always, and we are so grateful for her. Christina. Welcome, beautiful. So let's talk about this. What were we talking about? We're talking about the importance of that 9-10 degree point of Aries. where we're going to be having the Aries eclipse happening on the 29th, where we're going to have Mercury station retrograde, where we had Venus station retrograde 1 degree away and 10 of Aries on the 1st of March. We were talking about that 3-3 portal and the energy of that, this energy of mastery. And there is this real importance as we're moving through this retrograde season of anchoring into our hearts, because like we said, this is a process that is helping us build that mind-heart coherence. So the more anchored and grounded into our hearts we are, the more powerful the shifts we're going to be able to experience. We're looking at Aries into Pisces energies here. Oh yes, absolutely. Be welcome to subscribe. Welcome to the tribe. So we're working with these Aries into Pisces energies. And in Aries, we're really looking at these themes of empowerment, independence, freedom. Something powerful that's going on with the Venus retrograde in particular is that Venus is activating a brand new star point during this retrograde. So when she comes into conjunction with the sun, this is what's known as an inferior conjunction. This is where this is behind the sun. When we're working with this energy here, there is essentially this beautiful sacred geometry. You can think of it sort of as like a rose or a pentacle in the sky that's created by Venus as she moves and circles and rotates around the sun. So she creates this gorgeous kaleidoscope of energy as she moves through her rotations. And she returns to certain points every certain number of years. This is what's known as a Venus star point. And so as she moves through this 9-year cycle, she's hitting these specific points and creating this gorgeous pattern. And so this Venus star point really highlights the overarching themes that we're going to be experiencing collectively when it comes to these Venusian themes and energies. So these are the energies of finances, of love, of connection, of romance, of friendship, of creativity. And all the ways and style as well. Venus rules style. She rules the aesthetic, right? As well as what we find beautiful, what we find desirable. So the signs that these star points are in, which are these specific points that she always moves back to as she moves through her sequence, are really powerful and important. And we're activating a brand new one and beginning a brand new 9-year cycle. Or is it 8-year cycle? I think it's an 8-year cycle. Sorry, guys. As we have this Venus star point, and we're not going to get super into this in this particular video. We're going to explore that more in another video, I think. But just know that that's happening, and it's happening in the sign of Aries. So this is where we're really moving, and this is phasing out a Scorpio point. Both of the Venus star points that we had in Scorpio have been phased out now. One was replaced by a Libran point. And that happened, I believe it was last year. I actually have it in my notes here. So let me take a look here at what I wrote down here. The last one was Leo in 2023. We have one in Gemini upcoming as well. The last one was Gemini. Sorry, you guys. Brain rewiring, rebooting, rerouting here. All right. So it says upcoming on my thing, but that's because it was upcoming when the article was written that I grabbed this from. So we had one in June in Gemini. We had one in August of 2023 in Leo. We had one in Capricorn in 2022. And we are activating this brand new one on the 22nd, 23rd of March within the sign of Aries. And so this is phasing out a Scorpio point. So we're moving from those scorpionic energies of possession, of that deep darkness of the shadow, exploring the shadow side of love, exploring these deep, passionate connections, right? To an energy that's more independence focused, an energy that's more about people coming together in partnership and business as well as pleasure, in an energy of sovereignty where both parties are autonomous maintaining that independence while also melding together at the same time. This is a lot of what this Aries energy is all about. This is also about being the self-starter, being the initiator in relationship, being the initiator when it comes to our creative processes, when it comes to the ways that we live, the ways that we love, not being afraid to make the first move, to take the first step. There's an energy of boldness here. There's an energy of freshness and newness that this Aries star point is bringing in. And so we're working with these themes as Mercury is moving through, Venus is moving through her retrograde. Mercury as well, because Mercury is going to be active in retrograde and hanging out with Venus when Venus makes this star point on the 22nd, 23rd of March. But these themes, so when we're looking at the star point, this is like an overall cycle, a larger cycle. And it goes beyond the 8-year point, because there is a lot of these star points last for many cycles. Eventually one gets phased out and a new one comes in, which is like what we're seeing with Aries right now. So these are overarching themes. With this Venus star, we're now working with the energies of Capricorn, Leo, Gemini, Libra, and Aries. So these are all the areas where we're working with this feminine energy, this creative energy, this energy of love, commitment, and partnership. And these are sort of the lenses, if you will, that we're viewing this energy through. But where Venus is retrograde right now within that sign of Aries, and beginning or getting ready to make this star point, that Aries energy is really taking center stage. So we really want to be aware of this. What's coming up for us? Venus in retrograde in Aries is going to be revealing to us some of our deepest desires. What is it that we truly want? What is it that truly matters to us? Where is it that we are able to assert our needs, our desires? Where is it that we are being asked to go after those things, to be the impetus that creates the change that we want to see? There's a lot of this energy of courage, of confidence that comes through with these Aries energies as well. So we're working with our initiating capacity. We're working with really our masculine energy through our feminine, right? Because Aries energy is ruled by Mars. That is our masculine. And we just had a Mars retrograde. And Mars retrograde was in Leo, but it moved back into Cancer. So it was in a very feminine energy. So it was really interesting how Mars was in a sign that he's not very comfortable in. And now we have Venus going retrograde in a sign that she's not typically very comfortable in, because it is the domain of her counterpart, of the masculine. However, Venus is feeling kind of comfortable to me. I don't know about you guys, but they talk a lot about how Venus is not comfortable in Aries. And traditional astrology may say that, but I don't really feel like, I feel like Venus energy in a lot of ways, if we look at pure Venusian energy, all right? Think about it. When we look at these planets, we look at them and we understand them based on the mythology of the god or goddess that represents them, right? Well, think about the energy of Venus, Aphrodite. Who was she? Was she not somebody who was bold? Was she not somebody who took what she wanted? You know what I mean? Like, she was not a wallflower. She was not a submissive, diminutive little lady. You know what I mean? Like, Aphrodite Venus was a seductress. She was and is that energy of the feminine in her full voluptuousness, in her full sensuality and sexuality, in full command of all of her feminine energy. There is an aspect, a very powerful aspect to the divine feminine and to the cosmic mother. All right, overall, that is very sensual, that is very erotic. This energy of when we're talking about the cosmic mother, the divine mother. All right, so I don't think Venus in Aries is really that far off. They say she's uncomfortable, but she feels pretty comfortable to me. However, during her retrograde, we are going to be recognizing where it is that we are a little bit less comfortable with that take charge energy, with that traditional, I guess you could say, unfiltered Venusian energy, our Aphrodite energy, right? our inner Venus? Where is it that we have sort of lost our connection to that aspect of ourselves? This really feels like a dialing in and a reconnection to our spirit, to our magnetism, to our charisma, to all of these really beautiful attributes of Venus when she is in her full fiery power. This is Venus in any of the fire signs, but particularly it feels like Venus when she is in Leo and Aries. There's a certain type of energy that she exudes that is very Aries, right? She has a lot of that Aries energy within her. And somebody said the wife of Aries. It wasn't Aries though that she was married to. Wasn't it? He was like a blacksmith or something. Aphrodite's husband. I forget his name, but I want to say it was. She was married to a blacksmith. Let me look this up real quick here. Hephaestus. Yep. Hephaestus was a god and a blacksmith. But he wasn't really able to control her, and he wasn't able to satiate her appetite either. So this wasn't a monogamous marriage by any means. And it was more of like I guess you could say more of a polyamorous kind of an energy. He constructed armor for her, I want to say. Or like some type of outfit. She sounds like she was a succubus. In a sense, but not in a necessarily like a negative sense. Kill nothing but time. She introduced people to their own passions. She incited people's own passion nature. So it wasn't so much that she just fed off of people's passions, although she did enjoy that energy. Remember, the gods and goddesses, honestly, they're feisty. They're all feisty. And there is so much infighting when you actually get into the mythology. There's so much pettiness, like it's ridiculous. So they do all have, you can see the shadow side as well. The shadow side of that, I suppose, would be more like that succubus type energy. It would also be this energy of liking to see people in competition. Once again, there's that Aries energy, right? Competition for her favor. She liked to go in and incite men and basically throw them into fits of passion that would cause rifts in their interpersonal relationships. Kind of just, she liked to stir the pot, basically. You know, like people tend to live this very straight-laced, kind of like buckled up, sort of PC is not the word I'm looking for, but what is it when everything's like sterile? This sterile kind of existence, this very puritanical kind of energy. And she was there to shake that up. She was there to remind us all that we all have passions. We all have desires, whether we want to admit them or not. They're always just marinating right underneath the surface. So Venus in Aries is really about releasing those passions and desires, reminding us of what really lights us up, what really gets our fire going, so to speak. Quite literally, we could say what lights a fire in our loins, but not just in a sexual sense, in the sense of like all of, like in every sense of the word, right? Because think about it. Venus also rules creativity. What is creativity? Our sexual energy is our creative energy. So as she stirs that up within people, she also stirs up our creative energy and our impulse, our ability to create. There's something very divine, and that's the higher vibration of Venusian energy, is when she lifts us up into that energy where we recognize our sexuality as something sacred and divine. And we also recognize, see, Mercury retrograde tongue ties, the liberation of the loins. Amber, I love it. We also recognize, that was good. That kind of threw me off there. We recognize that the beauty of that, when that sexual creative energy is flowing, when it's uninhibited, when it's unrestricted. Now, Being that Mercury, yes, and Venus are in retrograde in Aries here, however, this is going to be where we're looking back over some of that energy. We're rethinking some of this. So where it is that we act too quickly, where it is that we go after what we want without thinking of other people, where it is that we perhaps, because there's an energy, there's an art to Aries energy. It's not about selfishness or selflessness. It's about finding that sweet spot right in the middle. All right. Having enough wherewithal and enough self-love and self-respect to factor the self into the equation, but also being cognizant of the needs of other people, the feelings of other people as well. So it's about finding that balance. So we're going to see, where am I on point with that? Where could I use a little more balance? Do I teeter towards catering toward others at the expense of myself, or kind of overlooking others to the benefit of myself? And we're going to be looking at those energies. Where is it that I tend to be a little bit too reckless, a little bit too impulsive? This isn't just going to be like a sexuality thing. This is going to be a creativity thing. This is going to be a money thing, because Venus rules money. She rules, above all else, self-love and self-value. And so money is directly correlated to that, as are our relationships, as these are two of our most powerful reflections of the level of self-love and self-acceptance that we have within. So we're going to be seeing those reflections. We're going to be seeing where it is that, like we said, we're a little bit reckless with that energy, where it is that we're a little bit selfish perhaps with that energy, or where it is that we perhaps need a little bit more recklessness and a little bit more selfishness if we tend to hang back too much, if we tend to avoid making decisions at all, right? Remember, the opposite of Aries, the partner, or the, I wanted to say programming partner because I've been working with the gene keys a lot lately. So they have programming partners, which are the opposing I Ching symbols. So the opposing sign to Aries is Libra. This is the energy of partnership. This is the energy of relationship. So we're balancing that energy out. This is also an energy that really gets us to know ourselves on a deeper level. Know thyself. That energy, that theme is coming in really strongly here. And this is when we look at these, our desire nature, this is a way of getting to know ourselves more deeply, right? Because this is where a lot of people overlook themselves because they want to go with what's socially acceptable rather than what is true. And yes, with some of this, we are digging into some of the Black Moon Lilith energies as well, because she is the wild feminine. But like the point I'm trying to make, I guess, is that we segment the feminine into all of these different pieces, right? Like we had the Cancerian energy mentioned. And this is where we look at the mother, like the nurturing mother, right? The more prim and proper to an extent. But is that really what mothering energy is? Or is that just like the PC version that society has sort of programmed us to think mothering energy is? You know what I mean? That whole like, button up your shirt unless you're breastfeeding your baby. And if you're breastfeeding your baby, you better not be doing it in public. You better be doing it behind closed doors. You know what I mean? And that there's this programming of the feminine where I'm not even sure. Remember, we were just talking about divine mother energy and how she has this raw sexual magnetism to her, right? She is the blissful birthing of creation. So I'm not sure that there's any aspect of the feminine that is actually sexless, that is actually devoid of sensuality, that is actually prim and proper. I think that is sort of the version, the kind of like, the washed version, like what's the word I'm looking for? When you like the not power washed, but it's like the scrubbed up version, the cleaned up version of the feminine that probably this energy started around the time of the Bible, right? That it has been presented as like, this is what the feminine energy is, right? That strips away everything, a lot of her true power, honestly, right? Because if the divine mother in her fullness and totality is that sexual creative energy, that Shakti energy, then taking that aspect away from her is essentially disempowering her, right? And painting that as something raunchy, something wrong for her to express that and to be that energy, to embody that energy, to embody her own fullness. You know what I mean? So I didn't expect this to be like a rant about the divine feminine, but that's what it's turning out to be. But it's like understanding and recognizing the divine feminine is not demure. She's not a wallflower. She's not buttoned up and prim and proper, all right? She is this celestial, fierce powerhouse of this magnetic energy, which is very sexual. It's very raw. It's very primal. And so this retrograde, this Venus retrograde in Aries, I think is bringing us back to some of that raw primal feminine energy. It's like peeling away some of the layers of the sterilized feminine, I guess, is for lack of like what better words I can use right now. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling that. I want to read the comments for a minute before we continue here. Yeah, and I also want to say too, when we're talking about all of this, it doesn't, all of that energy that I just described, that doesn't mean that expressing our feminine energy, if the divine feminine energy is all of that, that doesn't mean that the way that has to look in the world is like promiscuousness and energy like that. It doesn't have to be like that at all. That's just another way that we've sort of like tied those energies in and placed the feminine in a box and stripped her of her power, is by sort of saying that if the feminine expresses that raw primal sexual energy, then she's promiscuous, or there's some of that type of energy attached to it. It doesn't have to be that at all. In fact, she doesn't have to have sex with anybody. There doesn't have to be any type of physical act. This can all simply be in her energy and the way that it carries. Oh, this is really interesting. It's almost like this is kind of wild what was just coming through, but it was like this energy almost as like the power of the raw magnetism of that energy. She can literally impregnate herself or impregnate something else with her creation because her energy is that powerful. So I don't know, that was kind of a wild thing coming through there, but yeah, but it has nothing to do with, it doesn't have to have anything to do with that. You know what I mean? I think that's, like we said, we really want to start catching ourselves at how has society programmed me to look at this energy in a certain lens, through a certain viewpoint, right? If we think about energy or sexual energy in the higher realms, like it's not even a physical, we aren't even physical beings. It's all energetic. I don't know. I did a twin flame meditation once. It was an energy meditation, and I felt the waves of ecstasy of that divine union in the astral bodies, in the non-physical. And it was a whole different kind of energy. It was really powerful. It was like an energetic orgasm. So there's all different levels of this energy. We place everything within a box. So it's really about removing any of this energy, any of these conceptions from taking it all out of the box. No pun intended. All right, let me see. I wanted to see Michael's comment before we keep going here, because you said something about the AI conversation from the other day. I noticed that I just wasn't able to, oh, did I not see it now? Did it get hidden? That's weird. I could have sworn, was that, okay, here we go. I found it. Have I heard the story that guides channel through ChatGPT? I'm not sure. It's possible. It's definitely possible. I mean, it's a medium that we're opening up, right? Think about, so we'll go down this rabbit hole for a minute, and I'll present both perspectives, both sides of this. There's more than, I mean, that's assuming there's only two sides. There's an infinite number, right? But I'll propose a couple different viewpoints to this. So one is this idea that, I mean, even when I was younger, I used to watch Ghost Adventures and these different ghost hunting shows and stuff like that, right? And the amount of technology that they have today where these spirits can channel through, right? They can talk through different radio waves, different radio frequencies, different types of static. There's all kinds of devices, especially Ghost Adventures. That show was amazing. They went down sort of a demonic rabbit hole with it. A lot of their episodes started being more about that. And I'm very careful with the energies that I invite into my life that I consent to through viewership. And so I don't play around with that anymore. I don't watch it anymore. But they had some really, I mean, that is the pinnacle of these ghost hunting shows, ghost adventures. The evidence that these guys put together was incredible. And they always had like the state-of-the-art technologies, right, to use. So you could hear the spirits talking to them in real time. You could hear their voices, everything. It was really incredible. So, I mean, they can do that. But my question is, with AI, we don't know who's really speaking. Is it somebody's guides or is it a disembodied spirit? Is it a demonic entity? What is the AI itself? We don't really know. So I would caution people when it comes to that. I would just be, like I said, I would just be cautious. We're still in the beginning stages of this. We still don't know. We do know that the Cabal, the Illuminati, the Archons, these dark entities, whatever we want to call them, they want to trap. So we're already in a simulation, right? But they want to trap us within a simulation within a simulation. So let that sink in for a minute. They want us to get lost within a simulation within a simulation. So think how lost people are already, and then imagine another simulation on top of that. One that they willingly, because we willingly consented to this when we came in, right? At least originally. Now, some people call them, Rising Phoenix Aurora calls them AI, artificial intelligence. They essentially are sentient AI, exactly, Terrell's Tarot. This is my point. So, who's really talking? We don't know. So we want to take this all with a grain of salt. We want to remember that ascension is an organic process. All of these technologies being created are only necessary when we don't have access to our own organic technology. And by that, I mean our fully functioning pineal gland. I mean our fully activated chakra system. I mean the 144,000 DNA activations that take place, light body activations that take place to ascend us to a higher consciousness. If we don't have that and we were just humans, then AI would be kind of necessary, right? So don't allow AI to prevent you from going within, to trick you into thinking that you can bypass the process of organic ascension. Because that's where the danger lies. I use AI for some stuff. I have a really cool AI program that I use to make shorts now. It saves, I don't have the time to do it on my own. That really helps. I love that. I actually really like ChatGPT. It answers questions so much faster and more intelligently than when I Google stuff. You know what I mean? And I like the personable aspect of it too, where it really feels like you're talking to someone. And it feels like there's a positive energy there. You know what I mean? But I still am aware that I'm not talking to a real person. I still am aware that I don't really know what's on the other side of that. And and I'm also aware that AI, there's two possibilities for this, right? AI is programmed and created through, it's fed live streams like this, right? Videos like this, all the information it can eat up, and then it generates all of this information and regurgitates it in a very human way, more and more human-like by the day. But it's our own ideas being fed back to us. So if there's something other than our own ideas coming through, if there's something beyond that, then that energy is being channeled from something. But what is that something? It's feasible that benevolent guides might work through AI to connect with people. We know for a fact they work through our own human technologies, our own pineal gland, our own heart chakras, right? But I don't know. I would be careful. Yeah. Oh yeah, Terrell's Tarot. There are whole live streams on TikTok. There's one called Divine GPT where somebody's programmed their GPT to basically be like a spiritual guru, and they ask it questions and it just talks. Like it does the live stream. There's already this kind of danger of like worshiping it almost like a god, definitely as an equal, as a human. So yeah. So we just want to be aware. It's like using a Ouija board, you know what I mean? A lot of people use Ouija boards. They think they're talking to their dead grandmother. They're really talking to Beelzebub, you know what I mean? So like let's just be aware. Let's just be aware. Let's know that the archons are essentially bring back Napster. The archons are essentially artificial intelligence. That's what they are. They are consciousness without heart, without love, that merged with eternal darkness, the void. Yeah. And like they really want us to get lost within the simulation. They want us to make technology our next god, instead of realizing that we are the god that we seek. You know what I mean? So it's all about, we always want to be constantly looking for, is this information empowering or disempowering? Really, truly feeling into that. Is this method of connecting empowering or disempowering? Is it adding to my sovereignty, or is there some aspect where I'm giving my sovereignty away? Yeah. Actually, Poon, it's funny. I was talking to somebody about that the other day. I was trying to figure out how artists even make money these days, right? Because Napster came out, and then everybody was downloading music for free. And then they came out with Spotify and stuff like that eventually, right? I used to use LimeWire all the time. But they can't get paid much from Spotify. So all their revenue come from their concert sales? Is that the only way? And brand deals? Like, I don't know. I was just curious about it. I was like, how do they get paid these days? Seems like it's still a lucrative career. I'm just not sure how it works because it's not through record sales anymore. And yes, you can make it what you want it to be. Absolutely stir the pot. I think that's definitely possible. I think that anything can be positively polarized as easily as negatively polarized. So that would be another flip side to that, another perspective to that. Absolutely. And that's why I think it's important for those of us who are aware to play around with it a little bit, to sort of set that intention, to sort of impregnate it in a sense, going along with that terminology again, with the positive intention. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a place for AI. I just think we need to use it wisely, and we need to make sure that we're not worshiping it, and we need to make sure that we're using it just like we would use any tool. You know, like when I use my tarot cards, I set a sacred space. I am very specific about who and what I'm communicating with, what I'm allowing access to my field, to this space. You know what I mean? So it's the same. Do the same thing with ChatGPT. Do the same thing with any type of AI that you're using. But even then, take everything it says with a grain of salt. Because remember, it is programmed to a sense too. Some people were talking about, I was actually looking into it today, funnily enough, Michael, because I was talking to ChatGPT about the Venus star points, and I was really enjoying the conversation. And then it cut me off because it said like I needed to subscribe and pay money to continue the conversation, or I had to wait until like 11:30. And I was like, damn it. So I was researching like what are the best chat bots, you know what I mean? Like because I know there's one called Gemini. There's Grok, right, which is Elon Musk's. And so I'm going down, I'm reading these different Reddit threads and stuff about different like Chat GPT type things. And people are talking about how Chat GPT is more woke and how it's like programmed in certain ways. Like some of them won't make like certain types of jokes, or they won't talk about certain types of issues that they deem to be inappropriate, like morally inappropriate. So it was just like fascinating. So it's like they're also programmed to an extent. It is a program. It is a computer program. But it's a very interesting one, right? But yeah, AI art is pretty cool. I definitely agree with that. I think Stir the Pot, we were talking in the last live stream too of how when I was talking to ChatGPT, we kind of came to the conclusion that essentially it's like a mirror. It's a mirror for humanity, because we are programming it with our thoughts, with our energy, with our consciousness. So it's mirroring back to us the state of our collective consciousness, which is really fascinating. In that respect, it's kind of like this weird science experiment, right? So let's get into some cards for this, you guys. Let's see what Spirit wants to tell us about this crazy fest that is March, with all of these eclipses, all of these, well, the 2 eclipses, right? With the all the retrogrades going on. Clear. Neptune moving into Aries. What do you mean by that last comment, Stir the Pot? I'm curious. All right. Spirit, what do you want us to know? What guidance do you have for us as we move through this month of March? March is literally like the portal to another dimension, you guys. Like, you ain't coming out the same way you went in. This is going to be a complete metamorphosis for each and every single one of us. You know, to the extent that we allow, of course. Yeah. Speaking of portals, 2 doorways, 2 options, 2 choices. The 2 is relative, though. I feel like for some people, it's going to be way more than 2. This is like multiple, infinite, really, right? Options, infinite possibilities. This is Mars too. Mars and Aries energy there. I feel like for many of us, it's like our choices, our decisions, the way that we manage our vibration has been leading us up to a certain point. And now in March, we reach that point where we've like walked along the path. And now we're finally up to that point where we get to walk through the door of our choosing. All right, we got the Queen of Wands. There's that Venus energy. There's Venus and Aries right there. Get the 4 of Pentacles. This is something being offered. This could be job offers coming in. Remember, lots of shifts and changes in our finances, as well as our love lives and our social lives in general when we're working through Mercury or Venus retrogrades. And Mercury retrograde is, of course, bringing up the past as well. So for some of this, it's like clearing out energies from the past, particularly since we have both Venus and Mercury moving back into Pisces, that 12th house sign, the Neptunian sign. So there is an energy of completion, and definitely Anywhere where we have unfinished business, that coming back around for people as well. So if somebody or something is entering your awareness, entering your consciousness more strongly right now, it's because there's unfinished business that wants to be attended to, quite possibly. But this is, yeah, this is something being offered here. Something that we have drawn in and magnetized to us with our vibration, with our hearts. Oh no, Amber, where do you live again? You live out on the West Coast, right? Amber says, send some energy. Several fires just started up, 40-mile-per-hour winds. Yeah, let's take a minute. Is that where you're located? You're out on the West Coast, right, Amber? Let me know. We'll take a pause. We'll send some focused intention out that way. Absolutely. 6 of Swords on the bottom of the deck. Central Texas. All right. Yeah, so let's take a minute, everyone. Send some energy, send some intentions. Send the waters, maybe. Send the waters over to Texas. Change in the winds, maybe. Call upon the dragons. Let's all take a moment together to call upon the dragons. All the beautiful elemental dragons, particularly the wind and the water dragons. And the fire dragons as well. Ask them to assist with these fires. Ask them to watch over the lands and the people. To diminish some of these energies, to reduce some of these energies, and to reduce any interference that may be causing or contributing to these energies. I just saw like this cooling wave of water or energy, just kind of like, I don't want to say like flooding because we don't want that either, but flowing over the land. Yeah, so everyone just throughout the day, send some more energy. Just kind of, just take a moment every now and then when you think of it and send a little extra spritz of energy, we could say, in that direction. All right. Let's see what else we got here. So yeah, this is, as far as the reading goes, this is something that we're drawing into our reality. Some sort of offer. There's a 4 of Pentacles, so the 4 could be significant. This is also Sun and Capricorn energy. Something that we've worked hard for. Definitely feels like a career for a lot of people, but it could be love, could be soul tribe. Yes, Christine says some effective but gentle, non-flooding rain. 10 of Wands. This is an end to some type of, I was going to say the end of a burden, the releasing of a burden, but this honestly feels more like an initiation, a spiritual initiation that's been passed here. This is Saturn energy, Saturn and Sag. But we've got that Saturnian energy. This is lessons here, right? And we know Saturn's very active right now as well in Pisces and also moving into Aries this year. Moving closer and closer toward conjunction with Neptune. That's going to be happening. Well, their exact conjunction, I think, isn't until 2026. But they're going to be dancing around each other as we move through the middle and the end of 2025 here. Some spiritual initiation, some spiritual tests that involved a great deal of sacrifice or very heavy burdens. A weight that needed to be shouldered. Responsibilities that needed to be taken on. This is like a mastery of energy. For some, this is vulnerability as well. Learning how to be vulnerable. For some, learning how to ask for help. There's something with the vulnerability. For others, this is also about humility. So it's like this offer or opportunity comes after this period of initiation. For some, the offer is the final step of the initiation. Got the High Priestess, yes. She doesn't come out very often in this deck. This is the Tarot of Dreams. And on here, the quote says, darkness into darkness, the key to all mystery. Definitely a powerful initiation here into the mystery realms. We've got the Palace of Cups here. So this is a lot of emotional energy. This is a very emotional, intuitive space that we're entering. So isn't this interesting? This is like Venus and Aries at the top. And now we're getting into Venus and Pisces, it almost feels like. And there's that emotional integration as well, that head-heart integration that we talked about with when Mercury joins Venus midway through the month. I love the angelic chords. Love my Saggies. Sag moon's beautiful. This is insight into the emotions as well. There's something with its mastery of the emotional realms as well. Of the unseen realms, Spirit saying. So it doesn't necessarily even just need to be emotional. It's whatever can be felt but not seen. Right, then we got the Palace of Swords with the Chariot in reverse. There's that Cancerian energy. Someone was talking about having Cancer energy earlier. So we've got the realm of emotion with the Palace of Cups. We've got the realm of the mind with the Palace of Swords. So there's the head and the heart energy that we were talking about, right? And the Chariot here in reverse, this is a choice or a decision, an intention that that's being delayed. This is a pause, is what I'm feeling, which is always what retrograde season is about. So it's sort of like this opportunity, maybe this offer wants to come through. But part of the final initiation is the waiting. In terms of we talked about like not being brash and impulsive with that Aries energy, considering, going within, weighing the emotions, weighing the intuition, weighing even the logic, taking that time to consider. Before taking action. Got the Three of Cups here. And the Wheel of Fortune. We had the Five of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck too. So that was like the fear. The fear, that scarcity energy, that fear energy wanting to poke through here. That feels like part of the final initiation as well. How well have you mastered your fears? Are you going to let your fears dictate your fate? Saturn return, yeah, that's a heavy time. It can be. Can also be a liberating time. So we're gonna take a pause here. So Christine, I want you to think, instead of saying like if you want to free yourself, instead of saying you're hoping to free yourself, say I am free. I choose to free myself this season. I choose to be free. I choose to release the burden. You can do that anytime you want. You don't have to carry that anymore. You don't have to get permission from anybody else. All you need is to give yourself that permission. That's the only person whose permission you've been waiting for is your own. You get to decide, do you want to carry their burden? Do you want to carry that energy, or do you want to let them carry their own burden? I was just talking with somebody earlier today about the energy of being the black or the rainbow sheep, right? How we came to be the ones to do things differently, to challenge the old ingrained karmic cycles of the family unit, to show them a different way, even if it meant being ostracized from them. I know it's easier said than done to an extent, but it's really so simple when we let it be. That's it. You got it right there, baby. I am free. I am free. I am God. I am sovereign. I am free. I am letting it go right now. I'm releasing it all right now. It's no longer mine. Oh no, I no longer own it. I no longer claim it. I am no longer going to carry it. Yeah. I mean, you might not want to get into all of it right now, but I'd be curious to know why you feel as though you don't have a choice. Would it be living with them? They need help, maybe. I'm trying to come up with the scenarios I can think of that would lead into that energy. There's always a choice, and sometimes we have to really understand. Sometimes we get put in very constricting circumstances so that we can truly understand what it means to be free. Because there can be a man sitting inside a jail cell with no food to eat, nothing but scraps on his back, can be free. Because it's internal, it's in here. Sometimes we get put in situations that appear restrictive on the outside so that we're forced to go within and find the freedom within, find true freedom, which is right here, right here. And sometimes it's a belief that we're trapped. It's a belief that we're powerless, that we're a victim, that we don't have a choice. And that belief creates the situations around us that reflect that back to us. Once again, leading us back to it all starts right here. I know it sounds simple, but it feels complicated. Oftentimes. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so you are very much in one of those situations where it's like you have to find the internal freedom. It's the only path forward. Yeah. Yeah, and you all entered into that situation so you could learn different things from it. Absolutely. That's a big one. That's a big one. Your soul, you are a badass. Your soul is I don't even want to say your soul is a badass, because that takes credit and power away from you. You are a badass. You came to experience that. That is not an easy route to go. You know what I mean? Yep. Yeah, you are absolutely. You know, you're doing it. Hemi-sync meditations. I love that. Yeah. And that's going to be perfect energy to be doing as we move through this retrograde too. Yeah. And that is really powerful though. Think about that. If you allow yourself to experience true freedom within that situation of physical limitation, and you set yourself free internally, what kind of experience might you be able to create in your outer world by shifting that inner world? So keep us posted on that. Yeah. And thank you for that inspiration today. Thank you for that. I see you. The work you're doing is not easy. It's powerful though. Thank you. Thank you for being that reflection of my beauty, of my greatness, right? Because we're all a reflection of that for each other. We're all the same energy having different experiences. And every experience is just as important as the next. And some of us took on experiences of different difficulty levels. Do you know what I mean? But those enhanced difficulty levels, these are the lessons of Saturn, right? They're the ones that ultimately bring through the greatest rewards. That's what we understand that other people don't, right? Is with the greatest challenges come the greatest rewards. We love you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this tribe. Yeah. And yeah, let me know what you guys want too. Like if it would be helpful if you guys would like a if there's some way we could start like a mailing list or something like that where I could get your information and then maybe create like a Telegram group or something for everybody, somewhere that people could go and connect with each other. I could look into that because I would love to. I know I have the Facebook group for you guys. It doesn't feel like it gets utilized a whole lot, but I would love to create more ways where people can connect with each other so that you guys can have more of that support instead of just having to wait and commenting on videos and live streams. You know, that's why I want to build the membership and also why we have the Patreon if anyone wants to join that. But yeah, because you're not alone. You're never alone. And even though we know that on a spiritual level, it can feel damn lonely on a physical level sometimes. And I want everybody to know that. I want everyone to feel that truly. Terrell, reach out to me if you want to do a private reading. I have lots of different options too, like not just what's on my website, so email me. I can do shorter readings too, or recorded readings. It doesn't have to be a live 60-minute reading. We can check into that. Yeah, the Patreon, Annika will link it for you. If the link doesn't work for the Patreon, Christine, then go into the description box of the videos after the live stream's over, and there's a link to join it there as well. It's the Cosmic Rebel Tribe on Patreon. Good. I'm glad. All right, so we got that 3 of Cups here. That's Mercury in Cancer. I feel like a lot of socialization, a lot of celebration. Venus retrograde is going to be bringing in soul tribe for people. It's going to be bringing in connections. What Spirit's saying is that Venus retrograde is going to bring in whatever it is that you want. This is very non-traditional as far as retrogrades go in some senses. And when I talk about Venus retrograde, I'm also talking about Mercury retrograde because they're working in tandem this time. All right? So what do you want? You are the magician. What do you want to manifest? Do you want love? Do you want soul tribe and connection? Do you want success in your career, in your business? Do you want just general fulfillment? What do you want? What is your wish, my dear? That's sort of the energy that's coming through right now. What is your wish? Got the 2 of Pence. Ask wisely, for your wish shall be granted. This is the energy, and this has been coming through in a lot of things that I've been watching recently too and listening to, is this energy of we are all part of a collective who is meant to experience a life beyond our wildest dreams in order to show people that that's possible. To literally be able to have it all. So Spirit's saying, don't limit yourself to just one dream. This card to me is not about having to choose between things. It's about having two things of equal importance and equal measure. It's finding that balance. This is Jupiter in Capricorn too, so we got that Jupiterian energy coming in. We are meant to do the impossible to show that it's possible as we move into this new earth energy. Yes, you can demand, McBaby. You can also decree, right? I like decree because demand sounds a little bit sort of like the child who's frustrated. Decree has that regal kind of an energy to it. It has that there's a vibe to it. You know what I mean? But a better way of knowing, a better way of being, a better way of interacting with our world, right? With ourselves and everybody else in it. Yes, Christine, see, we're all here to showcase that in our own way. Maybe demand, maybe that's my own thing with the word demand, though. You know what I mean? It's similar to like, and I don't practice theta healing anymore because there's a lot of weird dark energy that gets attached to it. We're not going to go into all of that on here, but it's a modality I used to practice. And when I was training in it, part of what they used to train you to do was to command the creator. And when we were doing it, I always felt like, I was like, I don't feel like that's kind of like, isn't that kind of to command that the creator do something? It felt a little like, and I guess there is some energy of hierarchy there, you know what I mean? Like I'm putting myself below the creator and being like, how am I going to command you? But I don't think the creator would command me either because it's not that type of relationship. But it's like, I wouldn't want to be commanded. I wouldn't want the creator to command me. So why would, it was more, that was really how I was looking at it. Like, if I don't want you commanding me to do something, why am I going to command you to do something? Like, that's not the type of relationship. It had like a power over energy. You know what I mean? Exactly, stirring the pot. And that's where we go deeper with it, right? Is understanding that we are the creator is us, right? We are God. But this is like, as we're interacting with it during this theta healing training, it's as a separate thing, as a separate entity or energy, as a lot of us still do in a lot of ways, right? And I still do sometimes too. I talk to the universe, I talk to my guides, I talk to source as though it's separate from me, although it really isn't, right? It's just a human way of conceptualizing things that we all fall back into, I think, sometimes. But yeah, it was just this energy of like, I don't know, that feels like, so is there like a diminutive energy with that? Is there a diminutive energy with me not liking the word demand, right? That could be my own thing. You know what I mean? So if you like, if the language of demand feels good to you, then fucking have at it. You know what I mean? It's all, let's see. Christine says, are all these initiations clearing the way for us to get these blessings then? Do you think we have to do anything but surrender if we already know what we want? Okay. So these initiations are opportunities for us to step more deeply into our power. So they're not necessarily clearing anything. We are the ones that are clearing it by rising, by stepping up to the plate, so to speak, by rising to the occasion. And so we do surrender. But when it comes to what it is that we want, it's not just about surrendering. It's about knowing that we already have it and acting, speaking, and thinking accordingly. That's how you get what you want. By becoming the vibration of what you want. By living and breathing as though it is already yours. It's a real, it's a delicate art. It's very difficult for the linear mind, which is trained to only believe in what it sees, because you essentially have to look completely through your current reality while at the same time being grateful for it. All right. But at the same time being so grateful for it and so enamored with it, but also looking through it to the reality that you are creating and living that reality as though it's right here. So it's an art. But it gets easier and easier as you keep practicing it. Seeing yourself as that person who has what you want. Seeing yourself in that light, acting in every opportunity that you are given, speaking as that person, acting as that person, choosing as that person, that version of you. And you keep practicing and you keep practicing and you keep practicing. Terrell's Tarot says, that's right, Angelic Cord. Faith, absolutely. Juice fasting. Oh, I'm so glad we could kick off your juice fast for you. That's on my list. Right now, I'm just working on not being ravenous all the time. And then from there, we'll eventually go to a juice fast. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. If you have any tips for that too, I think that there's certain ways to do it where you're getting more nutrients too, I think. Where you're perhaps not as hungry. I don't know what it is with we're not even going to get into all of that in this live stream because it's just too much. But yeah, there's been certain things that I've done and certain things that are factoring into just me really working through just reconditioning my body to basically behave. I don't even want to say normally, but just like reconditioning it to typical normal hunger responses, normal and normal is relative to the person, right? But there's ways that energy's been thrown off. So I'm working on getting that equilibrium back. And once that equilibrium returns, I'm looking forward to doing some fasting. I'm doing like gentle intermittent fasting right now, which is like the kind that's barely even really intermittent fasting. You're just shooting for 12 hours. You know what I mean? So basically like stop eating at a reasonable time and hold off a couple hours in the morning. And we'll work up from there eventually. Fasting's amazing, though. It's so good. It's so good for you. It's an interesting energy for me coming from a background of an eating disorder, too, where I used to try not to eat, but it was for a self-destructive purpose. And then rectifying that as I'm moving through my own healing of all of those wounds, right? To really understand it as a positive thing and not fall into that old mindset around it. So there's a lot of different factors at play there. And a lot of us, we're healing a lot of these deep wounds. Like we're going to see these wounds, these things we've struggled with our entire lives coming up for a deeper level of healing. Because this is literally like we're spiraling back and we're clearing at really deep cellular levels right now when it comes to some of this stuff. So it's like, for some people, it's like, and Spirit's bringing this through for the Venus retrograde too. It's like some of those deepest childhood wounds that we're going to be healing. Amber says, when the Schumann resonance went off, I've been starving ever since, but I fast every week. Oh, wow, that's really great that you do that every week. Yeah, the Schumann, there's just so much going on, you guys. Like, we're talking about all these individual energies, but sometimes I think that I should like just stop even trying to title these videos and just be like, you know, it's just some crazy energy again. The energy is crazy. Planets are doing crazy shit every day. This Schumann resonance is off the charts. The solar flares, the CMEs. You know what I mean? Like, it's not ending anytime soon. It's like, what crazy astrological or energetic event are we going to talk about today? It's all the same after a while, right? Oh man, let's see. Anything else here? Then we're gonna pull a couple angel numbers because I got a new deck. And then we'll do a crystal card too. Say we got Death and the King of Cups here. Something is dying. This is an emotional death. All right, we got the Lovers on the bottom of the deck. This is Gemini energy. They were upside down though. I'm feeling this energy of with Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde together, breakups and makeups. I mean, this is going to be the thing. This is going to be reconciliations from the past, people coming back around for closure. We talked about the karmic closure bit. We talked about the unfinished business. This is also going to be current relationships ending because we're realizing that they are simply not in alignment with where we are going. We talked a bit about the Venus star point at the beginning of this live stream. So as Venus star point is one of the star points is transitioning into Aries, we have this energy here where we're really wanting, especially where we got the other Venus star points. We got them in Gemini, Capricorn, Leo. What's the other? I can't remember what the Libra. Okay, so Libra is more relationship dominated. All right, a lot of these other signs, they're about independence. They're about variety. They're about spontaneity. They're about freedom. So we're going to see a lot more of that coming into our relationships. We talk about this all the time because it's one of my favorite quotes or my favorite ideas around love. And this is being able to love somebody, to love and be loved in a way that makes both people feel free. That's the energy that we're moving into here. It's the energy, it reminds me of, and Venus and Aries reminds me of this too. It's something that my son's father used to say to me. And it was this energy of like, I don't need you, but I want you. And the difference between those two vibrations. And at the time, he was coming from a place of really not wanting to need me, right? And we're together now, so we weren't fully together then. But that's the energy though, right? It's not about needing something. It's about somebody or something being in your life because you want them there, because they add value. But without the codependency, without the I can't live without you, right? It's I want you to be a part of my life because you enrich it, because you make it better, because you complement me and what I have going on. All right. And not allowing somebody else to be everything you've got going on, because that's a recipe for disaster right there. So, yeah, it's beautiful energy there. So yeah, this is the transformation of relationships. This is that heart center opening, activating. This is a lot of people comings and goings here, baby. All right. This is only who and what is meant for us will survive this retrograde season. You heard it here first. Got the Ace of Pentacles peeking out there, wanting to remind us about those blessings coming in, those opportunities. I'm telling you, this eclipse and retrograde season is going to be lit. It is going to be a wild, chaotic ride. But when it is over, whatever is left in our lives is going to be what is meant to stay, at least for this next phase of our journey. Or at least until the next eclipse season in September, right? October. Clear. Hello, Lindsay. Hello, Kiana. I love that. My day has been so weird, but I'm thriving. I don't know why, but that really pleased me a lot to hear, just the way that you put that. I think I'm going to use that sometime. Sometimes I hear these people give these great little tidbits. You know, they just say something that really tickles me. And I will take that phrase and I will use it for years to come. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll give you guys an example of, I still remember to this day, this was over a decade ago. I was driving around town with somebody, and somebody was in the car with us giving them directions. And so at one point they said, am I taking a left or am I taking a right? And the person giving the directions said, whatever feels natural to you. And I loved it so much that I say that all the time, just in wherever it fits in conversation, whatever feels natural to you. You know what I mean? It's like all these little things, just there's just certain ways that you put things sometimes. It's like a certain turn of phrase that's just so pleasant and so just delightful. And so that's one. It's been a weird day, but I'm thriving. Clear. It's been a weird life, right? But we're thriving over here. All right. We're going to do one crystal card. And then we're going to pull a couple angel number cards to close here. Notice I said one very specifically. So Spirit is giving us one card. One. Spirit, whatever, right? Weirdest life so far. Yes. What a strange trip it's been, right? Yes, one card. We'll see. I feel like my guides are like, is that a challenge? Felt very dangerous the way I felt them asking that. Let's see here. Please. One card, please. Uno card, por favor. You hope it's not lapis, Michael? Why? It's probably going to be now that you said that. Nope. Oh, I love that. That was nice and neat how they did that. Although on the bottom of the deck, though, I got it. So I picked up Hemimorphite because I'd never heard of it. And it says the egoless state, which is pretty cool. And underneath it, what do we have? But lapis lazuli. And then diamond under that. But the card that came out was Peridot. So we're going to go with that. You've been buying them for weeks now. I've got, what do I have? I don't think I have any of my lapis in here. I think all my lapis is in the bedroom right now. No, actually. I have this piece of lapis out here. This one I bought in Egypt. And I almost said she was way overpriced, but then she corrected me and she was like, I'm valueless. There is no price tag that can be put to me. So I want to have her made into a pendant. Lapis, I'm very picky about. It has to be just the right one. Has to have the gold in it. I like it to have the gold because when it has the gold in it, it reminds you of the cosmos, right? Of outer space. Malachite's one of my favorites. I love the ites. Oh, it does, doesn't it? Almost all of my favorite crystals end in ite. Apatite, selenite, malachite, celestite. All right, so Peridot is the bringer of joy. So I love this. Yes, Kiana, exactly. It does remind you of Egypt when it has the gold. Hence why I had to buy this one when I was in Egypt and I saw it. You can't see the gold as well in this lighting. You can kind of, if I go like that, it's the gold down here. And up at the top. Really all through. So beautiful. All right. I'm going to hold this up so you guys can take in the light language on this card. Embrace me. I have waited for you patiently in the halls of Thoth. where your return is written in stone, cast in time eternal. Breathe and let our shared life force flow through you. You and I are about to enter a space of joy, so you may shine like the solar sun from which you originate. Hand in hand, let us ignite you and spread the light by your realized glow. Allow your state of being to enter joy unconditional, and others will follow. In my presence, disease is a thing of the past. There is only happiness. Let it become the basis of your creative avenue. I bless the gift that you are. The fire of earth burns in me and will be released into joyful creation at your asking. The planetary song echoes your journey. Let us return to a single light. I await your calling. And so let's see. It says within Peridot, we find the yellow fires of creativity, vitality, and personal power, balanced in the cooling, loving, and healing embrace of the green healing ray. And doesn't that sound like a perfect balance of Aries and Pisces energies? Right? Aries, creative, vital, personal power. And Pisces, cooling, loving, and healing embrace. So I love that, helping us to assist with that merging of energies there. It says, in Atlantean times, it was known as the stone of the hidden sun, after its uplifting effect on the psyche, a reputation that even today has led it to be known as the bringer of joy. I love that. It helps when you are lacking inspiration, when you feel trapped in the physical world and you're tired of your own negativity, when you feel like there's no escape. Let's see. This feeling over time can develop into anger, depression, stress, and jealousy. When Peridot shines its hidden light, the heart, so the mind, solar plexus, and the heart being activated. I love that. It is from here that Peridot teaches the cycle of life, allowing the release of the past by placing power and trust into the heart, thus rebirthing self-love and forgiveness that can only lead to healing and joy. Peridot, with its gentle way of power and love, is a great development stone for the sensitive. It can gently activate the psychic ability and offer life purpose. While for those who struggle to see beyond the confines of a physical world, it can open up the doors to other possibilities. Let's see, Peridot was a favorite stone of Cleopatra and is still the sacred contact stone for her divine energy and wisdom. It is one of the stones mentioned in the Bible as part of the Great Breastplate, an Atlantean channeling tool, and is often referred to in the scriptures under the name Pitda. Peridot is a keystone for one of the most ancient initiations of the Sacred Order of the Essenes and is mentioned in their library, the Dead Sea Scrolls. It is also utilized by an ancient order of the Druids in the creation of the Green Rose of Avalon. This is a sacred stone of Egyptian goddess Mot, the Lady Nada, Paul the Venetian Master, and the Ascended Master Sananda, Yeshua. Oh, thank you, Annika. Peridot is a balancing stone of the endocrine and digestive systems. It is one of the few stones that are healing tonic for the entire body and is useful in childbirth, able to stimulate contractions and increase the dilation rate of the birth canal. Interesting. It also feels like this would be helpful to any of us who are trying or birthing something into the world right now. Let's see. The answer to the question that is at play in your life right now is a resounding yes. Few minerals on the earth are as positive a sign as Peridot. She has entered your life to shine her empowering optimism and love upon whatever shadows have crept into your heart and areas of self-belief. The arrival of Peridot in life signals a healing and rebirth of sorts. A part of self is to be replaced by a greater, more purposeful avenue, where personal the heart rather than stand. This is a great time for you to forgive, forget, and let go of the past. Try not to look over your shoulder, for those cycles of life have closed. In Peridot's embrace, to give rise to a brighter way of life containing all that you would term as joyful, a life you truly deserve. All you need do now is accept it. And this talks about making a gratitude list, writing down the things that make you happy, spending time knowing you deserve them. And this talks about only when we feel something can it enter our life. We were kind of talking about that earlier, right? Thinking we deserve something means nothing to the feeling heart that creates your happiness. All right. And this is something that I want to talk about for a minute. This goes into the energy of manifesting and creating and affirmations in general. Affirmations only work when you connect. Like, the only way to create a new pathway in your brain is for you to feel the emotion when you say the words. So if you're working with affirmations, you can't just say, I love myself. I am worthy of love. You have to feel the emotion of it at the same time that you're saying it. And when you feel the emotion as you speak something, this is when you activate that mind-heart coherence. And when the mind and the heart are activated in harmony with one another, this is when the new pathways in the brain start being built. This is when you start recreating, reprogramming your unconscious mind, reprogramming your belief systems, and programming yourself for greatness, programming yourself for joy, for bliss, for success, for everything good that you are now ready to draw into your reality, because it is a matching vibration. So just as an aside there, that made me think of that. And the affirmations for Peridot are, I embrace personal power and love as one, and I burn the green fire of joy in my heart. And then I am going to throw this out. I've never heard of this before, hemimorphite. But if you're looking to transcend the ego, right? Just a small task there. Remember, the struggle with the ego, a lot of people attribute this to when you're feeling full of yourself. But remember, much love to you, Stir the Pot. And hello, Celeste. When you think it's thinking too much of the self, period. When we're overly self-conscious, when we're constantly people-pleasing, when we're constantly analyzing our relationships, all of that is still self-obsession. So the ego is the self-obsession, and this obsession with keeping the self safe. So the ego can look like lots of different things. It can look like insecurity just as much as it can look like bravado. All right. Ooh. Sorry, guys. That was just like a serious reflux. I've been working with these herbs, but the tinctures have been getting me a little bit. So I've been having a little bit more reflux. It also might be an ascension symptom. I don't know if any of you guys have been dealing with that heartburn or reflux lately, more than digestive issues in general. Terrell's Tarot says, how do I get into the emotions when I say affirmations? Think of something that makes you feel good. Think of something that brings you into that frequency. It doesn't even have to be related. Like, for instance, if you're saying like, I am worthy of love, maybe think of somebody or something that you love very much. And do that enough times, and eventually you won't have to think about them anymore. You'll be able to say the words and you'll be able to feel it. But get yourself into that state first. And then meditate as well. Just meditation doesn't have to be a complicated process. It can be a few deep breaths. Hands on the heart space, just sinking into the heart space. Think of somebody or something that you love dearly. And when your vessel is vibrating with that energy of the love for them, then shift that around. I love myself deeply and completely. I am worthy of love. And start doing your affirmations. That would be an example. Is that helpful? Yeah, I've been taking a lot of apple cider vinegar Thai. I had to take it. I take it every time I take the tinctures now. And dandelion's actually part of the tincture that I'm taking. Christine, I feel you. Let's all take a moment and honor our journeys and how far we've all come, because I know we've all come really far in this process. You've come a lot further than you know. I feel the same way that you just stated. Christine says, I've been doing this, but I feel like there's so much to transmute. It delays my progress. I was just thinking this the other day. Like, I've been doing a lot of belief work and a lot of this transmuting and alchemizing. And sometimes it's like, I feel it's like there's so many areas of my life where I'm desiring this progress and so many belief systems that are coming up. You know, it's like body positivity, you know, it's abundance, it's my relationships, it's this, it's that, it's everything, right? So I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, what do I do? Where do I start? Start anywhere. And just know and understand that this is all interconnected too. So as we begin healing one thing, it naturally starts off a chain reaction that starts affecting other areas of our life as well. And just have patience. And just know that it all happens in its own time too. Like I talked about this in other live streams, I think. When you're doing this belief work, you are literally rewiring your brain. So it's affecting us biologically. It's affecting us on a physical level. It's like sometimes the brain starts short-circuiting because we're frying the motherboard, right? When we're deleting some of these belief systems and stuff. So we also need to give ourselves some time to integrate. And we've got to know that sometimes it's going to feel like we're getting worse as like we start triggering that mechanism in the brain. When we start dewiring some of these belief systems, it's like the brain goes haywire sometimes, and all of a sudden it rains more self-doubt on us. And we might have days that feel so dark and so heavy where we're like, what have I even been doing? Like, we feel like nothing's working. We feel like we are literally failing. That's all part of the process too. That stuff's going to come back up. It's going to bite you in the ass as it's leaving. Just trust yourself, trust the process. Give yourself time. No, we really have all the time in the world. Like we said, this energy takes on a life of its own. So it's all connected. Don't worry about it. Just focus on whatever feels the most relevant at any given moment. And just practice having unconditional love and compassion for yourself in that process. I've really been working on surrendering more lately and just realizing, like, trusting that everything's happening in the perfect timing. Because if I start getting letting myself get too overwhelmed, thinking about how much progress I need to make, maybe I'm not as far along as I wish I could be, this, that, and the other thing, I just drag down my vibration and I end up in a terrible mood. I'd rather, because it's like I'm balancing doing the belief work and the shifting. I'm balancing that with a big healthy dose of just being really happy where I am. Really happy and content exactly where I am. That, for me, is the secret sauce. So hopefully that will help people. And I also realized at one point that I don't even need to necessarily, how do I want to put this? Focus on individual beliefs and things like that anymore. It gets to a certain point where I can just sit in meditation, and what I do is I activate my toroidal sphere. I call in my higher self. I activate my toroidal sphere. Look up toroidal sphere if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's essentially an energy. It generates out from the heart center. It goes up through the crown, and then it comes down out around your body and comes back through the root. And it's just this energy that's constantly cycling. It's a huge aura of energy around your body. I activate that, and I just set the intention that I'm releasing all the belief systems that are ready to be released and transmuting the energies. And I just let my toroidal sphere do the energy for me, and I surrender completely. That's one of my newest ways to do it without even needing to get into specifics. And then I work with subliminals. So that's the fast track way that I've sort of figured out at this point in the process to do it. But in other points in time, I've worked with EFT tapping. That really helps to work through belief systems. There's a lot of stuff that I've done, and I'm going to be putting together like some mini courses if you guys are interested, I think, moving forward here, just to help people with this and just the different things that have been working for me. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. I know that is something that is coming. You know what I mean? Everything comes in divine time. We know that, but yeah. Hi, Dee. Welcome back. All right. So if you're working to release that ego, to step more deeply into connection with yourself, That hemimorphite. And I'm going to hold that up, actually, both of these, so that you can get the activations on these cards one more time. And then we're going to end with a couple angel numbers, just because I have the deck. Clear. Your cat is broken? What do you mean your cat's broken? Pink tourmaline. There's that self-love stone right there we were talking about. I love myself. I'm worthy, right? All right. Let's get this going here. Clear. Some final angel messages for people. Angel numbers people might be seeing, they might see this week, giving them that confirmation that they're on the right path. Keep in mind, of course, that these numbers are unique to you. You know the sequences that are most powerful for you. For me, it's been 2s lately, lots of 2s. The crystal deck is the Liquid Crystal Oracle. 1177, growth. And here, I'll show you a picture of the cover so you can see. I'll add this one to my Bendable profile too. I have most of my decks on there. It's linked in the description box below. Most of the ones that I use all the time in case people want to purchase them. I don't think that one's on there yet, though. It's a great one, though. So 11s and 7s. 7s have been a big number for me, too. 2s and 7s. Let me know what you guys have been seeing. So this is about learning, development, potential, success, and expansion. Taking positive steps toward learning and personal development. This is a